Good afternoon. I want to say thank you, first of all, to the media and to all the outlets that have promoted Terms Heroes. Right now, we've raised over $60,000, towards the fund, and and the goal is now extended to 82,000. So that's what we're reaching for. It ends tonight at 9 o'clock. We're going to hit 82 one way or the other. I can guarantee you that. I truly am thankful though for all the support. As we look at Northern Illinois and we look at this team that we're facing, since 2010, and they've been one of the best FBS teams in college football. When you look at where they sit, they're amongst the top 20 in terms of wins. It's a program that's had 6-10 win seasons. You gotta respect who they are and what they do. I know Thomas Hammock. And me and Thomas came up together, through the coaching ranks. When I was at Ohio University, I coached against Thomas, and he was a great player at Northern Illinois, and then had a chance to move on, and now he's back, and the first African American head coach at Northern Illinois. So a lot of good things happening, for Thomas and in his program. Right now, I know they're 1-2, and they're fighting. Right now to try to stay, above water. I know we're fighting to stay above water, but excited about the second half or the second quarter of the season. There's 12 games in the season. First quarter is done, but we know exactly what that's yielded for us, and what we have to do is just continue to move forward and continue to march and get better. And I think there's been progress, on all fronts. I think our offensive line is getting a little closer to full strength. As I take a look at our team, we understand where we are on the defensive side. Some youngsters, new guys playing, all the way around, but all that stuff's got to be shored up fast. It was great to see some turnovers in this last ball game. Needed that. Defensive turnovers, a couple sacks, a little pressure on the quarterback, but it's all got to be better, and we know that. But the opportunity is now. This team is going to challenge us. Northern Illinois is a physical football team, and so what we have to do is make sure, we match physicality with physicality, and play clean football. It was good to see the penalties go down because it's going to be that type of ball game, and for us, and we've got to be sharp in all three phases. So we'll open it up for questions.
Derek, I think you brought more pressure last week on defense.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, going into a game and the week preparation with you and Coach Tarver, what are the conversations, what are the factors you consider when thinking about, are we going to drop more into coverage, or are we going to blitz a little more this week? Is it the quarterback, is it the offense? What are the factors that go into that?
I think everything factors into it. I think, quarterback, what type of offense is it? What are they looking to do? What do the matchups look like? I think there's a lot of factors. I can't key on one, and I hate to just talk about one because then that gets more in the game plan scheme and people understand, like how you think about it. But I do believe, man, that it always centers around, what your guys can do. It's going to be about what your opponent does, but it's really about what your guys do, as well. And, in those areas, like I said, in looking at, how much we pressured, I think we hit the quarterback, the idea was to hit the quarterback, but we need to tighten coverage. And so at times it looked loose, at times, it got a little loose. And we're going to tighten up some things. These first three games have really, challenged a group, defensively, challenged us as a team, but really challenged the group of guys, man, to really try to trust in the process. It's not like guys are going rogue, but when you have guys, okay, when they're playing together for the first time, guys are trying to trust where guys are going to be. That chemistry takes just a little bit of time. It looks good like in camp, but as you start to get guys playing with one another and things start to happen, do guys, slide off of what they know? Do they move away from what the process is and start to rely on their own training versus trusting the training, man, that they've been given? It's just a process. And so, all we're doing now is just tightening, some things up, and that's including pressure, coverage, and everything else that goes along with it.
With that chemistry you're talking about, Derek, I guess it's not like you can always choose this, but is it, ideal when you have a kind of a rebuild or a young defense to have an easier game early in a year? You know what I mean?
It is.
Is this, do opponents like this make it more challenging now to get that together?
You know what? I thought the front end schedule really lent itself to really exposing everything that we are, on the front end, and that's okay. You wanna be exposed, man. It's tough to get exposed and make changes during the middle of the season. That's not what you want. You wanna see what your flaws are and try to make sure now, man, as you're moving into it, you truly understand what guys can play, what guys, man, are maybe 15 to 20 rep guys versus being 45 rep guys. You really got to solidify, how you're playing, what your rotations look like, getting best players on the field, and making sure, again, defense, offense, and special teams suits those players so that you can play, really good ball. And, what I've seen so far is that, when our guys, with the schedule at hand, really got put in some vulnerable, situations and positions. And again, when you're playing defensive football, it's definitely about 11 guys being on the same page. Whether it's a guy on top, one guy on top, one guy underneath, bracketing coverage, a guy staying in gaps. Right now it's been a little all over the place, and I think it has a little to do with just trust and chemistry. And again, you're working on it. It's going to be better. We're going to tighten it down because it's not about the quantity of calls you have. It's about the quality of work you can do. So, sometimes what you have to do is simplify. When you simplify, okay, man, you can find foundation, and when you find foundation, you can build from there.
Well, knowing the schedule behind you and the one ahead of you,
Yeah.
is that a challenge to build guys up despite losses?
Yeah, you know what? There were some great things that came out of, the front end of the schedule. And, it doesn't necessarily look like wins on paper, okay, man, but it looks like experience. It looks like, opportunity. It looks like guys, getting a chance to, test their football IQ. And then us, really looking at, who are we and where do we stand today? Man, there's just a lot of work to be done. And so it makes you have a sense of urgency. It makes you, be a little more intentional about, what it looks like, because even when guys got in and had an opportunity to get some reps, what they started to understand is, man, this is a little different. This isn't like practice. And I think the more you can get guys to understand, man, what these games are, especially, on the defensive side, man, where again, man, you got 9 new players playing together for the first time. It winds up being, useful information that makes guys lock in and load for the rest of the season.
Do you have to guard, though, against an idea among the players that, we've had this tough start to the schedule, now it's going to get easier? You want the same attention to detail that you've been, to going up against the talent you've had the first 3 games?
It doesn't get easier, because here's the thing. If you fall into that mindset of getting comfortable, Northern Illinois will beat your face in. They're a good program. They're a good football team. What we have to do is make sure that we respect, our opponent, respect the teams that we play, and that's exactly what we do. Man, we're trying to go 1-0 this week. So, our mindset's got to be towards, what do we need to do, understanding exactly who they are, and then let's get to Saturday, knowing and understanding that the work's been done, and now we can step on the field and know and understand we got to play 60-minute ball game.
But any worry that the fact that there's not a number in front of the Northern Illinois, they're not top 5, that maybe some of the younger players might think, it's not going to be that tough?
Now, we put up the numbers for Northern Illinois' program over the last 10 years. Listen, anytime you can have 6 10-win seasons since 2010, that's saying something about your program. So this group has been giant killers over the years. Last year, I think they beat Nebraska, and they beat Purdue. They've beaten a lot of big teams. So, for them, it's going to be tough football. They're going to come in and play the way they always play. And again, I've got experience coaching against the squad. I think maybe in 3 years that I played them, I think we only beat them one time when I was at Ohio, and we went to bowl games. So the reality is, I've got a lot of respect for this team, this program, this coach. Okay, and our players will have the same amount of respect.
Can you talk about Jalen Mahoney? He's gotten more snaps.
Yeah.
Seems to be playing well. That's really hard to do for a freshman.
It is. Young man from Rock Hill, South Carolina. Love who he is. His mentality, is that of a dog. He loves to hunt, and he plays hard. And even on the few mistakes that he makes them fast. That's what you like about, young, good players. Guys that are hungry, they're going to make mistakes, but, they're going to get better, and they're not going to make the same mistakes twice. And that's what that's what you want from good players. And I believe Jalen Mahoney's future is bright. I mean, you're gonna hear his name a lot, but you're also gonna see great football from that young man over the next couple of years.
Keyshawn's impact has come in big plays. He did last year. He got 2 in this game, a 41 and a 52-yarder. What was the common denominator, what you guys saw worked on those 2 long plays?
Well, we had hats on hats, and he ran through the hole. That seems to be, as simple as you make it. I think the game plan was good, going into this ball game. I thought Keyshawn, ran hard. Obviously, man, we all like to have a couple of runs. Went back, man, we thought could have, been hit for a couple. But, here's what it is. I think last year he started slow, and then he started to build momentum as the season went. I think he's that same guy. He's that guy, man. The more touches he gets, the better he gets. And so, we just got to make sure, man, that we keep, working the big 3, letting Riley continue to, grow his game as everybody else comes along. Because I think we've got a lot of weapons on the offensive side. We just got to continue to make sure that offensive line can function the way we need it to function in the run game and in the pass game. And we're going to see, consistent offense coming down the pipe.
How important is it that Keyshawn is kind of that tone setter going forward for what you guys want to do offensively?
It's huge, in what we do. I don't think he's the only tone setter, but I think based on the number of touches that he gets, he has an opportunity to obviously lead the charge, and that's what he's been doing. When he's touching the football, he's running hard. He wants to impact the game, and that's really who he is. But I think he's also trying to make sure, man, that we can stay on the field so that 80 can get started and 16 can get started. And I thought those guys showed up and played well in this ball game, and we just need to make sure that we stay on the field more. Third down conversions got to be critical for us, because if we stay on the field, we're pretty good.
Given the 2 opponents, especially LSU and Georgia,
Yeah.
what kind of physical condition are you in right now? You feel good about the team as far as not being too battered and bruised at this point?
I think injuries are always going to be part of the game. I think what's been special to see in this group, every time we've played teams or we've gone up against teams, teams the week after seem to be pretty hurt. And that just is a sign of a team that's playing hard and playing physical football. That's one thing about this team. This team, it doesn't always look pretty, but when you talk to opponents, when you talk to teams, and even when you see us in the fourth quarter, this team is in great condition in terms of being able to finish out ball games. You don't see any drop, in conditioning. Guys aren't laying on the ground. Guys aren't flying all over the place, man. We're not dropping, like to try to get, like the offense slowed down. James Dobson has done a terrific job of understanding what the formula is for our guys. I think our practice schedule suits our guys. We're one of the few teams in the country that practice for 90 minutes on a Tuesday morning. And in those 90 minutes, we can get 87 plays. That's pretty good. Like in this day and age where you still have special teams, and I'm not talking about, 87 snaps including special teams. I'm talking about 87 snaps, okay, with another, 16 or 15 special team snaps on top of it. The way we condition our guys, like in practice, shows up in terms of how they play. We don't get tired. We can go for, in a while. We just got to make sure we can keep guys healthy.
Riley Gay, was he hurt the other day?
He was. Riley, got injured. Man, he's day to day. In terms of what it looks like. I saw him this morning. He had a smile on his face. So I'm hoping, that he'll be ready. And we'll see on Thursday. Kickers. You kick early in the week. You kick late in the week. It's sort of like, those guys get a chance to play some golf rounds in between practices. So I'll catch him on Thursday and see him in exactly what he's doing. But now, right now, he's day to day.
Offense has seemed to be kind of feast or famine. It's big plays, it's turnovers or 3 and outs. What do you do to find a rhythm and a consistency for more sustained drives, and is up tempo on the table?
Yeah, I think everything's on the table, but what I'd like to say is that we're finally going to be able to settle into the offensive line. And I think it all starts up front. This is a line of scrimmage league. It's a line of scrimmage game. So as long as your offense, your offensive rotation up front is almost minimal, okay, you should see more consistency. It's different. The quarterbacks, seeing a couple of different guys. Some guys are longer, some guys are shorter, some guys, can hold up better. The reality is consistency of roster or rotation leads to consistency of play. So we got to fix that, and I think it's help is on the way, and I think we're going to be pretty good.
Well, Teresa's got the last question.
Yeah.
Derek, 12 of the 14 schools in the SEC are throwing for more yards than they're getting on the ground in a league that's kind of been a tailback league for a long time.
Yeah.
You're kind of, you've got Keyshawn. Is it just maybe teams going with the talent that they're getting with, these 4- and 5-star quarterbacks coming in?
I think it's, obviously, running the football, as defenses have gotten better, running the football becomes extremely hard. And I think when you have so many athletes and you can spread people out, it becomes speed and space. So, anytime you can get the ball to an athlete, like in space, and he's only got to make one guy miss as opposed to making 6 or 7 guys miss, it looks different. Okay, so that's really what you're seeing. And I think most programs in the SEC are looking at their roster that way. Most of them are spread teams or have spread principles built into who they are. If you look at us, we're throwing the football better than we're running the football. We're starting to hit stride, but I think all the way around, we've got enough playmakers to put it out in space just like everybody else. So and we got to ratchet up our game because that's what's going to happen coming down the stretch. You got to score points, and you got to be good at third down conversions, and more than anything else, you got to put it in the end zone.
You've got 2 tackles playing pretty well.
Yeah.
You got your best one coming back.
Right.
What does that open up to you, and could you slide any of those 3 guys inside?
I could. That's, again, we're going to get better real fast, and experience in the SEC. Who would have thought that Tyler Steen and Jonathan Stewart would have been able to hold up first level of competition that we played in these first 3 games. That bodes well for us. Now what we got to do is keep those guys healthy. We get Sean McMoore back, as well, which is outstanding. When you're talking about, when you're second center and a guy that can rotate at guard. We're starting to get into the stretch of football where I think health up front and the ability to tighten our quarterback up and tighten this defense up a little bit is going to all have to work together to play complementary football as we start to work towards making a stretch run.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks.